Hi, we're Team Protected. We are undergraduate students studying industrial engineering and operations research at UC Berkeley. Today, we are presenting to you Dr. Vulnerability, a simulation tool we developed using Sigma and Excel. Here's the agenda of our presentation. First, we'll give you the general overview outlining reasons as to why we need a software like Dr. Vulnerability. And then, we'll go ahead and give you details on the software itself, including the architecture and logic behind it, and some of the key features. And finally, we'll give you some of the screenshots to walk you through the software. It all starts with the simple fact that companies have become more and more dependent on the central server and internet to store their confidential information. It has a lot of benefits, maybe quicker customer service and better data processing times. But it also has many drawbacks, one of which is security breach. We did our research, and if you look at the bottom of the slide, a lot of system-related problems are network vulnerabilities, and the number of its disclosure has been steadily rising over the past years. Here are some other important facts. In 2010, most websites were exposed to at least one serious vulnerability every day. The average website had 230 serious vulnerabilities throughout the year, and 64% of the websites had at least one information leakage vulnerability. Government, high-tech companies, finance companies are among those heavily affected by network attacks. And it's safe to assume that these industries deal with a lot of sensitive information. So it's a big concern. So we decided to develop a software that addressed these issues. In doing so, we had to consider many different things. Mainly, we focused on three factors. One, different threats. Some network attacks or viruses need more immediate attention than the others. Two, different skill levels. Companies have their own in-house IT engineers that deal with these network issues, but not all of them have the same skills or experience. We have to consider that as well. Three, limited resources. It is simply infeasible for a company to hire a large number of engineers to deal with these issues. We have to work very efficiently with a given number of people. In other words, our main focus was on developing a simulation software that captures both urgency and human resource allocation aspects of network vulnerability management. Then, what are some key features included in Dr. Vulnerability? In Dr. Vulnerability, there are three levels of engineers and virus threats based on skill levels and threat levels. It considers various ways of virus detection. And we're going to take care of the most urgent viruses first. We're going to call them level 3 viruses. Dr. Vulnerability also allows various combinations of team formation, giving it some kind of flexibility. And lastly, it includes system update feature. All in all, we believe that Dr. Vulnerability is a robust resource allocation tool for vulnerability management tool. Now, Elaine will talk to you more about the architecture behind our software.
This is a diagram of our ERG, and it shows the structure behind our software. Our approach to creating the software was to divide it into three major parts: pre-allocation, allocation, and post-allocation. In pre-allocation, we focused on how viruses are introduced to the system and how they are detected. In allocation, we focused on how workers are allocated to fix each virus. In post-allocation, we focused on how to update the security of the system. During pre-allocation, viruses are classified into three major levels, 3 being the highest threat and thus doing the most damage. As viruses enter the system, they accumulate damage. However, IT workers aren't immediately aware of the arrival of each individual virus. There are two different ways that workers identify that their system is under attack, either through a periodic scan or once a damage threshold is exceeded. Once the viruses are detected, they are taken as a batch and sorted by their respective threat levels. The system then does a preliminary check before passing the virus on to the allocation process. During allocation, there are three different ways in which workers can be assigned to a virus. First, the system checks to see if workers with a skill level matching the virus level are available, and if so, they are then assigned to fix the virus. If not, then the system checks if there are available workers with skill levels below the threat level that add up to or exceed the virus level, and if so, they are assigned to fix the virus. If not, the system then checks to see if there are available workers with a higher skill level, and if so, they are assigned to fix the virus. During post-allocation, the system is updated by increasing the resistance of the system. This is done by increasing the probability that viruses are fixed immediately upon arrival. This probability increase follows a logarithmic function, and so it has a decreasing marginal increase. And now Andrew is going to give a walkthrough of our software.
So now let's take a look at our product, Dr. Vulnerability. The first page you see here is a landing page, which gives you a summary of the inputs as well as the output plots. So now, once you click on Setup Experiments, it will take you to the following page. Here is where you can set up your experiments. We have provided 5 runs to give you some flexibility and room to test different scenarios. We wanted our product to be user-friendly, so we limited the inputs to the most crucial information. When you click on Edit Experiments and Timing Data, the user form shown at the bottom of the screen will pop up. Here you can enter the number of engineers for each level, the number of non-IT engineers, acceptable damage threshold, and the total runtime. For 1.1, you can input the current data and numbers for your company and change around the numbers to see how your system is affected. After you're ready, when you click on Run Simulation, it will bring you to the following page. You click on Simulate to run the simulation. The following 5 graphs will appear, which will help with analyzing how resources are being allocated in the system. The first graph is the number of engineers available over time. Here you can see the change in the number of available engineers for each level. In this particular case, level 3 engineers are being underutilized and most readily available. The second graph is the queue size of viruses over time. Any spikes in the graph represent any buildups in the queue. The next graph shows the maximum number of vulnerabilities in queue per level. You can see the maximum number of vulnerabilities here in a more defined way. The following graph shows the average number of available engineers per level. You can use this data to see if there are any engineers that are being underutilized. Since workers are expensive, this information can be used to determine if there are any engineers of a particular level to hire or fire. The final graph from our product shows the average number of vulnerabilities in queue per level. In this particular example, the queue is relatively small and about the same size. However, in more extreme cases, this graph will show buildups in a particular queue level relative to the other queues. Any buildups, especially in level 3, will probably need to be taken care of first. So we've determined that these 5 graphs will be the most helpful information for you to maximize the productivity of your system as well as minimize the number of vulnerabilities. And now here's Natalia.
So why is Dr. Vulnerability an important tool for a company? Like Andrew just demonstrated, this product is extremely user-friendly, easy for managers to become comfortable using it in their decision process. It works as a great diagnostic tool because it helps identify bottlenecks within the system as well as classifying different types of vulnerabilities. Managers will be able to allocate their resources in an efficient, profitable manner, and we are able to customize the product to meet different needs. Thank you for your time and interest. For more information, feel free to contact us at drvulnerability@gmail.com.